verbal riot.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the show. Sorry, just getting adjusted here. Yeah, man. Glad you guys are here. Last week was a great show, and thanks to everyone who sent me the super chats. That was really cool. That was my first time. It's my first time, and you guys are so supportive, man. Greatly appreciate you guys. And a lot going on. There's a lot going on, right? We have the Olympics happening right now, and we have biological males beating the hell out of biological females, and we have a Turkish hitman. I'm sorry, a Turkish insurance salesman who's killing it, so to speak, at the in the shooting department. I'm trying to think what else is happening there because I haven't been really watching it except for a few things. We have the beach volleyball, which is always fun to watch. The women, of course, not the guys. I mean, the guys are fun, but if you're into that, but I'm not. I'm trying to think what else is happening. Simone Biles killing it as always, but that's kind of, we expect that to happen from her because she's probably one of the best athletes in the world. And other than that, man, I just think there's the Olympics this year it's garbage. It's been just controversy after controversy, and every year or every Olympics there's always a little controversy. It just seems like this year, man, it's just been off the rails, completely off the rails. And it's sad to say, man, because normally I love this time of the Olympic time, and I love just drinking a few beers and watching athletes go at it and cheering on our boys and girls, in the red, white, and blue and that whole thing. But it seems like everyone is just against America, man, including Americans apparently now. So it's just a weird time to be alive. You know what I mean? It's a really weird time. But other than that, entertainment's entertainment, and we have a lot to talk about today. And I'm going to be joined today by an all-star cast. At least they're all-stars to me in my eyes. And they're going to be I'm trying to watch my language. So if you hear me pause sometimes because I'm about to curse and I'm catching myself, I've gotten better, guys. And some of you know this. I've gotten better. There was a time back in the day when I would be dropping F-bombs, man, like it was Baghdad. You know what I mean? Like I'm like Vladimir Putin, with my finger on the red button, and for me, it's just like I'm just ready to drop those F-bombs. But I just, I'm trying to watch my language because of YouTube. I'm trying to be good, sort of. And yeah, so when you hear those pauses out of me, it's because I'm about to curse and I'm catching myself right in the midst of it. But before I bring my panel on, I feel I have to apologize actually because I missed a few super chats last week. And it bugs me. I hate when I miss a comment that I should have posted. And so I want to shout those people out right now. A serious man who super chatted $2. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, man. I appreciate it. Sorry I missed you last week. We have Punk Rock Yoga who gave $25. Again, appreciate you guys, man. I shouldn't have missed it, but when you work without a mod, that's what happens sometimes. And last but not least, our very own Alan Ing. I missed Alan Ing's super chat. So for $5. And it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Alan Ing. Thank you for the super chat last week. And Alan Ing will be a guest on the show next Wednesday. So there you go. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to be joined by a lot of different people, who graciously agreed to be on the show today. They're going to be dipping in and out because, hey, it's a Wednesday. I understand people are busy. Over here on the West Coast, it's only 4 o'clock. So I understand people are either getting off of work or they have other things they have to do later. So it's all good. But right now, I will bring on one of our guests who is here, which is Mr. Aaron Sparrow.
Hey, good to be back.
Oh, yes, right, man. Aaron, man, you were one of my first. You were one of my first. You and DA, actually, who's also going to be on the show today. So, Aaron, tell the people what you got going on, man. You told me behind the scenes, but let them know what you're doing.
Oh, okay. So if you guys can see behind me here, this is one of the covers for the comic book series I'm going to be crowdfunding soon. It's called Kneel Before Doomface. You can sign up for updates at kneelbeforedoomface@gmail.com. We're going to have the pre-launch page up pretty soon. Just waiting on some little legal paperwork, and we're going to be able to go. But we're Renzo and I and Oscar and the whole team, we're still working on it. It's going to be a fun book. If you like channels like this, if you like The Tick, if you like the Venture Brothers, if you like commentary on kind of how PC culture has completely gone wrong, you're going to like this book. I think it's probably one of the funniest things I've ever written. If you guys know anything about me, I wrote the Darkwing Duck comic for Boom Studios and then later for Joe Books, which was very well received by fans. I'm going to be like knocking it out of the park. Every single one of us on this project is swinging for the fences. I was telling Dante a little bit about it. It is about a villain from the 80s who was banished, and now he's back in the year 2024 and is ready to reestablish himself as the premier villain in the world. But obviously the world is a lot different than when he left. So there's a lot of opportunities for comedy there. And then over here on the, right behind me, these are the two heroes. Their side of the story is what if breaking into the superhero business was like breaking into the modern day comic book industry? So one of the first problems they come up against is not supervillains, but the Social Justice League.
Very cool, man. And so, and I didn't ask you this before backstage, but is this your first book, or is this like a book in a series?
This is the first book in what I hope will be a series. This is not my first book, but it's the first book I've done of these characters. This is the first creator-owned project I've done.
Got it. Cool, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to pick up a copy for myself because I try to support all of my friends' work. So,
Appreciate it.
Good stuff, man. All right. We also have Derek, the DA Anderson, joining us today.
Yo, what's up, Dante? What's up, Aaron? How you guys doing, man?
Good, man.
Good to be back with you, man.
Yeah, the trio is back, man.
To see you again too, Aaron. This was like your first stream, wasn't it? I think we was on.
You were my second, actually.
Second, okay.
Well, you were my first panel. Yes, absolutely. My first video, I did an interview with an actress and filmmaker named Vera Vanguard, but you guys were my first panel. So
okay.
Yeah,
glad to be here, man. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I love having you guys on. Tell the people where they can see you, man. I want to do this at the beginning of the show instead of the end of the show because I want people to know, right away what you guys, do, what you're selling, what you're promoting. So let them know.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Derek Anderson, the DA. I have a channel on YouTube. That's the name, Derek Anderson, the DA. Sometimes you can search it by Derek, D-E-R-E-K, the DA, and you can find it that way as well. But yeah, I've been doing the channel for about 2 years. Just crossed 18,000 last night, I want to say. So starting to pick up some steam, and that's due to a lot of the support from fellas like yourselves, and some of the great content creators out there like Echo Base Network, WDW Pro, obviously Film Threat. I'm on Versus quite a bit. So look, I enjoy this community. I enjoy talking about all of this stuff. This is like a dream for me, and I'm having a great time, and I love meeting all new people. I'm actually going to go out this weekend, heading out on a flight at 3 a.m. Tomorrow morning out of LAX, going to Houston for Anime Matsuri. So if anybody's going to be in the Houston area, anybody out there in Houston, if you're going to happen to be at Anime Matsuri, my son's putting on 2 panels. He's putting on an anime family feud panel, and an anime gatekeepers panel. I'm just going to be kind of hanging in the back, helping them out. But you guys, if you're in the Houston area, come and support. That would be nice. And I would love to meet anybody. I had never been to a big convention where it's a possibility I might run into some folks. I know some people on my channel said they're going to come through and say hi. So yeah, if anybody just happens to be in the Houston area, happens to be at Anime Matsuri, come hang out. It'd be nice to meet some of y'all folks.
Very cool, man. Very cool. And last but not least, well, not last, actually, we have one more coming on, but joining us right now is Anna, that Star Wars girl. Anna, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Also, dude, congrats on 18K. That's awesome.
Appreciate that. Man. Thanks, Anna. Appreciate it.
So, Anna, this is your first time on the show.
It is. Yeah. You mofo, you haven't invited me on yet.
Well, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because you are very pregnant. So I've been trying to be, good with your, courteous to your time, because I understand, hey, you got other things happening right now. You got a whole human being inside of you.
I do.
Yeah.
This little shit won't stop kicking me. It's gotten to that. So at first it was like, you can't sleep or do anything because I'm sick all the time. Well, I guess I could sleep, but it was sick, puking, can't do anything, can't stand up because of the vertigo and the puking. And now it's like I got a gymnast in my stomach, and I'm like, oh my God, a hungry gymnast. And it's like, apparently this is supposed to be like the honeymoon semester. So I'm like, when I get like the third trimester super, super big, it'll be when Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And I'm like, oh my God, this.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, though, because you seem like the type who only gets it in the belly. Is that what's happening? Okay.
Well, here, I'll show you. Well, also, it's a boy. It's a boy. So the boys, it's supposed to be straight out, and the girls get wide,
wider.
right?
Yeah. They carry different, the boys. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Straight out.
There it is. Have you reached a
Anna,
point yet where it's like,
congratulations, Anna.
Thank
oh
you.
yeah, absolutely. Have you reached a point where it's just hard getting up and down, or are you?
No, not yet. Thank goodness. I think it's hard getting clothes. I didn't realize with women's fashion, like how many high-waisted jeans and crop tops I own. So it's like I'm down to like bodysuits that'll cover this belly. Because one day I was like, I'm not leaving the house. It's fine. I had a crop top and like these shorts on, and I look like the most white trash trailer park girl with like half my belly. Like I gotta go shopping. It was not
Time
good.
to get some upgrades to the wardrobe.
Yeah. But right now
Wow.
it's it's so hot down here in SoCal that I'm just melting every day.
Yeah,
so
man.
I'm actually wearing the same. I'm actually wearing the same outfit, Anna. It's so
nice. We coordinated. Great minds think alike.
Have you guys thought of a name and all that yet, or?
Yeah, we're not going to tell the internet.
Well, of course.
But I obviously call him Peaches. So right now it's just Baby Peach.
Baby Peach.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's his first son. And so I'm like, I keep saying, it's like, you should name him after you. And he's like, no, because he doesn't really like his name. And I'm like, I'm in the same boat. I don't like my name either. I think it's so boring. But he's got his heart set on this one name. And so I'm going to let him have it. But I still keep telling him, I'm like, but you're going to regret it. Like, I just have that feeling like if you don't name him after yourself. But
make it his middle name.
It already has his middle name. No matter what, they're going to have the same middle name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, I was like, I want to name him after me. Because you know how guys, they'll name the kid after themselves. I'm like, here's my thing. Anna, Anakin, or Indiana. And I was like, no boy's going to turn that down. And of course, I got the one guy that's not really nerdy. And he's like, no. Our kid's going to get
Indiana would be amazing.
Yeah, Anakin was obvious, man. That would have been perfect.
You got to be so hardcore to name your kid after a Star Wars character, though.
I know.
Yeah, man.
Well, I'm hoping if I let him name the first one, I get to name the second one. So,
well, Luke and Leia are normal, I guess. I mean, those are normal names, but Padme might be a little bit too much. You know what I mean?
No, I'm over here like I want to be a boy mom. I don't want girls. He already has a daughter, so we got that. I want all boys. So I'm like, he gets to name the first one. Maybe I'll get to name the second one.
Yeah,
my friend Alan, he named his son Jason, spelled Jacen, after Jason Solo.
That's a good one. Yeah. Well, I was going for Bruce because Batman's my favorite superhero. So I said Bruce, and my grandma was like, no.
Actually, you don't hear a lot of Bruces anymore. That's not the name you hear anymore.
You do not. And I said if we had twin boys, we can name one Bruce and the other one Wayne. And he said no. He's vetoing everything. I'm like, So it's like I kind of have to like find like nerdy names that he doesn't know about. And then because I was like, ooh, what about like Reed? Like, Reed Richards. And then but he didn't like the name. He's like, no, I used to work with this one guy who was a jackass named Reed. It's like you don't realize how many people you don't like until you're thinking about names for a baby.
Actually, that's a really good point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's a really good point.
My friend Jesse Snyder, every one of his kids has a comic book name, and it's like a mix of two. So he's got his oldest daughter, Logan Lane.
Oh,
Then there's Cassidy West, named after Cassidy from the vampire from Preacher, and Wally West.
is it just me or did your camera freeze?
It might have. I was having that problem earlier today on Thinking Critical. It was tripping out a little bit. There's something going on with the internet connection today. And then he's got Grayson. What is Grayson's middle name? Is it Grayson Wayne? Might be Grayson Wayne. And then Parker Pride. So every single
and his wife was okay with all that, huh?
His wife was okay with all that because they were just vague enough that like you wouldn't know it unless you wouldn't know. Like, if you know, you know.
You probably didn't know until after.
That's true. Although Jesse's always worn his nerddom on his sleeve. He's covered in comic book tattoos. So I don't know how she could have not guessed.
Well, you know what? I mean, since we're talking about Bruce's here, this leads right into our topic, which is DEI Batman. I don't know if you guys
haven't been able to get through it, man.
I don't know if you've seen the Caped Crusader, guys. Like, I honestly, I got to episode 4, I think 4 or 5, and I tried watching it Monday, fell asleep. Tried watching it last night, fell asleep, and I woke up this morning and I just kind of went through 4 episodes, and I got to tell you, it is garbage. It is just not good. And I'm not trying to be negative about, you know, things that are woke, but it's so bleedingly woke. Like to a point where they don't even have to be woke and they still go woke. Even then, right? Like, let me pull this up because Jesus. It's not that they just made the Penguin a woman, but they made her this monster of a woman, and we are supposed to believe that men go to a club and think that she's sexy, right? They're cheering her on and waving their dollar bills at her, and I'm like, oh God, yes, this happens.
So they're trying to make this woman a sex symbol.
Like I can see they're trying to make her okay. She's ugly, and that's the joke. That is not the joke.
I mean, that's
like if they don't wave dollar bills at her, they'll get killed. Like that kind of thing you could do, but
right or something like that, right?
Yeah,
but no,
that would be actually interesting. Yeah,
they're trying to really make you think that this penguin is an attractive woman, right? And if it was just a penguin, I'd say okay, fine, whatever, right? But every woman outside of Catwoman is like this stupid version of themselves, right? Like Harley Quinn is this really thick Asian girl or Asian woman. I think she's Asian. You have what's her name? The detective, Montoya.
Renee.
Oh yeah, she looks like Renee she ate Bullock. I saw the images of her. She's huge.
It's ridiculous, man. And I know Anna, you've had a lot to say about this. Like your Twitter feed is wild, man.
Oh, so okay. When I went to go watch this on Prime, I clicked watch, you know, it's brand new. Here's this Batman show. I clicked watch, and instead of playing the first episode, it played the last episode. So I thought that was the setup for the show. So if you guys haven't watched it, spoilers alerts, mute yourself or mute me. So Batman uses a gun in the very last episode. It doesn't kill anyone. He just shoots around this guy's that's dirty cop. So that way it like proves a point, then he throws it. But Two-Face is like nice, and Barbara is like race swapped. They still gave her ginger hair at least, so it's like they're inside on the joke. But I was like, what am I watching? Like, I thought this was the setup for the whole season. So I was like, Batman's using guns in this whole season. All right, good to know. But I tweeted about it, and I'm like, everything is backwards, and people lost their goddamn minds. But I was like, aside from me saying that it was the first episode, it was the last episode, nothing else I said was wrong. Alfred is fat. This Montoya is fat. Harley Quinn is a fat Asian chick. And then, so after that, it, you know, started playing some movies. So I had to go back and I started watching the second episode. And because I was like, oh yeah, I already watched the first episode. And so I was like, everything was out of order. Nothing made sense. And I was like, what is going on? This show is shit. Now I have seen it all the way through. I did finally see the Whammon Penguin. And I'm like, this is a show about Whammon and Batman stealing all the Whammon's thunder. It's bad.
Oh yeah. Oh no. If you're rich and white, you are the villain of the show, no matter what.
Even
no, really. No, that's what it is.
Well, remember, this is J.J. Abrams who said it was time to end white comfort. So, you know, it's not surprising that this is what we're getting.
I just look, man. I just feel like there's certain people in Hollywood where the jig is up. The jig has been up on that guy for a long time, but somehow he still gets work. I don't understand this.
I mean, I think it's just
it.
the end of like whatever it was that he had in development, because obviously animation takes a long time. This was probably started before the pandemic and finished afterwards, so it's just one of those things that just kind of like they couldn't just cancel and take the write-off on, so they had to put it out. That's my guess.
Okay, but it begs a question for me of why Amazon Prime and not HBO Max, where all the other DC material is. You know what I mean?
Oh, you don't make any money.
Think of is Zaslav has a brain, and he don't want this anywhere close to Max, to taint Max, because why would you want this on your platform when it's this dog shit? You know, why would you even care?
But then how did JJ get the rights?
Well, remember, right after he got the job, I think right after the Rise of Skywalker, and like he was still riding some of that Star Wars love, even though he really shouldn't have been able to get any of that. He was still kind of riding that train. So then WB came over before Zaslav even took over and said, okay, you got the DC franchise right now. And I mean, he did nothing with it, obviously. I think there was supposed to be a Zatanna movie that was supposed to come out at some point in time, or a TV show or animation or something. There was discussions about Justice League Dark. There was a lot of stuff that J.J. Abrams was supposed to be working on, and he did nothing. I actually covered this on the video where, like, basically David Zaslav says, look, you guys got to give me something because you're giving me nothing. You have been sitting here, you know, we gave you a lot of money to produce DC content. You've done nothing. So I think this is like the only thing he could really get off the ground and get moving, at least as far as I know. But yeah, I mean, he got this deal and he did nothing with it for like 3 or 4 years. And so I think this is the only thing he's ever going to produce. And, you know, Zaslav was like, it's trash. Go ahead, bid for it. And then Amazon Prime got the rights. But it just looks like utter crap. I mean, I have no interest in watching this. You know, hats off to you, Anna, for taking the time to dig into this, man. Because Anna's like, look, I don't feel proud of that.
Listen, I had it on in the background and I dealt with it. And you know what?
You gotta watch a lot of this crap, right? You just got to put it on and just kind of like grit your teeth and just get through it, you know?
Well, you know what? I don't know what was worse, actually watching it or this little alien kicking the shit out of me to turn it off.
You know what? He already has good taste.
He said,
he already has good taste.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing? Well, so it's weird. I got a lot of like weird birth defects, but so I didn't know this until recently when my husband got a job. Like he had to do like, you know, when you get like a promotion or something, for insurance, they make you do all of these like tests and physicals. And he was taking like the hearing test and I was losing my mind. I'm like, what the fuck is that noise? And I was like, all these beepings. And I didn't know he was doing this test. And he's like, you can hear that? And I'm like, yes, what the is that noise? And it's like, I can hear like dog whistles and like whale calls. So I have supersonic hearing.
So you turned into Daredevil.
Up in here.
Well, it's just annoying because it's like buzzing, but you know that sometimes you like feel like it's like just a buzzing in your ear, but apparently it's real. So I just always thought that I was hearing buzzing and I was just weird. But now I'm like, oh, that's some kind of supersonic whistle. And so my dad was teasing me. He's like, maybe the baby's got your hearing. So even though he's 10,000 leagues under the sea, he can hear everything that you're saying. I was like, oh gosh, I hope not. That's why he's like, turn off this stupid show, Mom.
The thing that bugs me about the show the most is, besides the fact that it's dumb, is that when you're watching it, there are glimpses or where you're like, this could have been a good show. This could have been a good show. Like I actually liked the Catwoman episode. I thought it was kind of fun, right? And that felt a little bit more Bruce Timm to me. But the rest of the show, man, I can't get through it.
Well, the thing that we tend to forget is that Bruce Timm without Paul Dini is not the Batman animated series Bruce Timm. A lot of that was, you know, the guys that worked with him, you know, Glenn Murakami, Paul Dini, you know, they really shaped that show, and anything that he's done without them has never lived up to that. So, you know, I wasn't surprised that we got this. I don't think that he's particularly interested in doing these things anymore. I think that he's just another guy that's just kind of like writing out his contracts and for as long as he can, and just has lost interest. And you see it in comics with C.B. Cebulski and Tom Brevoort and Jim Lee, all these guys that are running these companies. They're just waiting for the golden parachute, and it doesn't really matter how the company does. It doesn't really matter what product they put out. They see the writing on the wall and they just don't care anymore. They've got their nest egg, and they're just adding as much to it as they can before the end.
So they just wrote him a big check, and he said, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough, man. I mean, fair enough.
That's sad, though. You got guys running out the clock on franchises like Batman and, these top franchises, and that's all they care about is just running out the clock. Let me get one more thing out there before I retire or whatever. That's just really sad, man, because a lot of these franchises, unfortunately, have not gotten their just desserts or their just due, and haven't been treated fairly and properly. And, you guys, they shouldn't be doing this. If this is what they want to do with Batman, I'm sorry, man. I can't rock with it. That's why I can't watch it. There's certain things I just refuse to watch, when I see, disrespect being done on a very high level. I just won't watch it, even though I watch a lot of crap. I watch a whole lot of crap. But
my question was, who was asking for this? Right? Like, I mean, look, I love the 90s animated series, but I wasn't asking for a new version of it.
No, you knew what you'd get, even if you did. You're not. You can't go home again. Not in the current day. Like, we're not going to get a continuation of it. I mean, the fact that X-Men '97 was as good as it was is an anomaly.
It's a fluke. It's a fluke.
And I think it was purely because Beau DeMayo loved that property and much like when I took on Darkwing, it's like, I love this property. I want to give the fans another season of the thing that they love. I didn't want to go in and reinvent the wheel. I didn't want to put any of my messaging in it, like Peter Jackson said, Lord of the Rings. I wanted it to be as true as possible so that they recognized it. And I think that that's what you got with X-Men '97. But that's not the norm, because the norm now is, how can I take this and I can skin it and then wrap that skin around the message that I want to put out there and make it about what I want to write about.
And I remember I gave DeMayo like a public apology, because I was like, before the X-Men '97, I was hearing all the rumors thinking, oh, it's going to be garbage too, and what they're doing and the whole morph thing. That was a great show, man. Like, I really liked X-Men '97. I thought
I haven't watched it.
Oh, I'm not spoiling anything.
No, it's okay. I don't care about spoilers, but I'm just like, I watched Batman and I didn't know anything about it. I completely avoided spoilers. I'm like, I love Bruce Timm. I'm so excited. I'm going to go into it completely blind. And it was shit. And the X-Men, it was like all this drama coming out about it. The dude that wrote it was crazy, getting fired, like so crazy he got fired. Yeah. And that ended up being the good show. I was like, what the hell?
I just don't understand the choices that were made, man. Like, I visually, okay, you want to do something different. I get it. But, you make Gordon and Barbara Black, fine, okay, whatever, but
that's going to be the norm going forward. We're not going to be going back on that anytime soon. Just like April O'Neil now will.
I was just about to say, just like April O'Neil. Yep.
Yeah, she'll be black from now on.
Once just you go black, right? Once you go black, you never go back.
Well, I'm like, it's okay if you make them black. Just make them also the level of attractiveness that they were before. Like the girl that played, oh my god, what's her name? In the Flash TV show.
Oh yeah.
The CW one. She was super pretty. I didn't care that she was black.
I really liked her character until they made her the most annoying character on the show. Like, that first season, I was like, oh, I like Iris.
And that's something that bugs me too, though, right? Because if you're gonna race swap, right, especially a female character, they never race swap. Like, they never put in a gorgeous black woman. They always like race swap them for like the most unattractive black woman in the world, right?
Jones.
Yeah, right. It's like, if you're gonna race swap them, fine. At least race swap them because there's tons of attractive, black females, right? Make them attractive. They never do that, man. But they hide under that cloak of inclusion.
Yeah,
they did it for the Batman with Zoe Kravitz.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
but I think that was maybe the last time. When you get April O'Neil in Mutant Mayhem, you really kind of see the soft bigotry involved, because they say to themselves, okay, well, what we're going to make April black. What does a black woman look like? Okay, she's going to be short and fat and frumpy, and she's going to, like, not really look like she takes care of herself, just kind of, it's really kind of insulting.
Very insulting. It's very insulting, man. Anyway, we're going to move on, but I just want to say, if you guys haven't seen this show, if you have a lot of time to kill, but even then, don't do it. Don't do it.
Isn't it set in the 40s as well? I haven't seen it. Is it like in the 1940s?
Yes, it is. Yeah, okay, it's basically it's like the 90s animated show.
Well, it makes sense then because everybody in the 40s was really, really fat, right?
Oh,
wait.
I know, right?
No.
Oh, wait, no, that wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing because our food wasn't yet poisoned.
Exactly.
Well, so one of the things that like really bothers me, like while we're still on this show, so one of all the pushback that I'm getting on Twitter is like, it's based on the golden age. I'm like, Harley Quinn wasn't in the golden age. She didn't exist until the animated series.
Thank you.
Montoya wasn't in it. Barbara wasn't in it. So it's funny how you pick and choose what you're and like. If that's your excuse, if that's your standard, then that needs to apply to all aspects of the show, right? So it's like you fuck up Batman. Batman is not the main character in his own show. I think that there's 2 episodes in this where Batman is actually doing the investigation, which is the ghost episode, and then the one with the girl. Fuck, what's her name? She the circus episode. Okay, so those 2 are the only episodes where Batman is the one doing the investigation. The other ones, it's like he's stealing Montoya's thunder because she's the one that does everything, and then Batman just shows up and steals her thunder. It's so bad. It's
he's
so
Inspector
stupid.
Gadget and she's Penny. Is
Basically
the premise of the show.
Oh wow.
Well, and then also the ghost episode. So I don't know if any of you guys watch this one or if you guys noticed this, but so JJ hates Star Trek. He doesn't know shit about Star Trek. You can tell that from his Star Trek movies. He puts not just 1 but 2 Star Trek quotes in that episode, which so it's the needs of like the many outweigh the needs of like the few or the one, and then it's shit. Of course, I'm gonna blank on it. Spock says it so much better than me, but it's like if it's illogical, then whatever the last thing is, then that's got to be what it is. I just completely butchered.
Like Occam's razor, like when you eliminate the I know the point.
Yeah, so he puts 2 Star Trek quotes in there, and it's like, bitch, I know for a fact you don't like Star Trek. That's why you made your shitty Star Trek movies just like a knockoff of Star Wars. And then you're going to put that in here. And I know you don't know shit about Batman either. And when he took over like the creative, like for television and movies and comics for DC, he put his fucking 16-year-old son in charge of Spider-Man. It's like, dude, you don't give a shit about any of this. You are just trying to get your name on as many IPs as possible. So that way you can be like, I'm the Star Trek guy. I'm the Star Wars guy. I'm the Batman guy. But he just proves he doesn't know shit about any of it.
And he's failed at all of them.
I know.
Ruined every single one of those franchises.
Every last one. Man.
I know.
I'm telling you, like, industry-wise, I don't know how this guy keeps getting work. I really don't. Like, look, there's certain people I kind of understand why they get work. Even a guy like Brett Ratner, right? Brett Ratner is an awful human being. Terrible, right? Not a great filmmaker, but he comes in under budget and he makes profit, right? So I get why he gets the work he did. Not anymore, but he did. I don't get J.J. Abrams at all. He's failed at everything he's done, including Lost, including Alias, including he's not done one successful thing.
Well, think about this though. Okay, like J.J. Abrams has some success. Like look at Force Awakens. It's still the biggest Star Wars movie from a box office standpoint. Now, how he finished it off because of him. He finished it off. No, I agree. When Lost, at the very beginning of Lost, everybody was in the Lost. It was a ratings phenomenon, right? But then it trails off because he's Mr. Mystery Box, right? He doesn't really have a way to finish these things off. So It was the same thing with Fringe, in my opinion. Fringe was another J.J. Abrams creation. That first couple of seasons of Fringe, I was like, hey, Fringe is pretty cool, but it doesn't finish well. And so he has all of these various things that he's done that were good at the beginning, and it got a lot of buzz, and it got his name out there. But then when you see them towards the end, it's like, all right, this guy really doesn't know how to finish off a story. He's good at creating the mystery box and opening up all of these possibilities, and he's good at creating conversation. Because again, you look at The Force Awakens, and true, that was coming off of a 10-year hiatus, and a lot of people were hungry for Star Wars, and people were still buzzing after that movie came out. But look at the rise of Palpatine and how that thing finished up. It was utter garbage. So he doesn't know how to finish the job. And so unfortunately, people will still say, well, look at The Force Awakens. And that's why he gets stuff. Look at what he did with the first Star Trek, even though it really wasn't Star Trek. But look what he did. He got people excited. People wanted to watch the next one or whatever. That's what J.J. Abrams is good at, all right? It's all smoke and mirrors ultimately at the end of the day. And so to your point, you would think that everybody had figured this out by now. All right. Everybody should be hip to the game when it comes to J.J. Abrams, but somehow he keeps getting work. He keeps getting work. And I think like right now at this point, I think he's kind of like, I think he even got the Lord of the Rings of Power guys their jobs, like he still has some sway
they weren't
in the
even
industry.
that. They were people that were working on scripts for him for Star Trek that were uncredited.
No, okay. So the two McKay and Patrick McKay and whatever the guy's name is, okay. But I know they were part of his family, like they were in his like little under umbrella or whatever. So I mean, somehow or another, J.J. Abrams they absolutely, man. But he still has some sort of influence in Hollywood. Maybe he knows the right people. He's had a couple of hits, so I think that's why people keep giving him some love. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the guy's a hack. All right.
He's a hack. I want to say something, but it'll get your channel in trouble as to why.
Hey, I just got monetized. Please do not get me in trouble, man. I had to go through 3 appeals to get monetized. Please do not.
I won't say it, but
you don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. In chat, don't y'all say it either, chat.
Hollywood.
But we know, okay.
Each other.
Can I tell you guys something about Lost that you might find interesting? So one of the writers on the first couple seasons of Lost was Paul Dini. I was having lunch with Paul Dini, and we got talking about Lost, and he said, every one of those mysteries that we set up in those first couple seasons, the polar bear, the smoke monster, everything, there were answers for that. We had answers for what all of those things were. And as the show went on and people started to not care and they just started to add things to it, all of those answers got lost. So, you could have had a show that like really like brought it around and came full circle. But at some point they decided that it wasn't about that. It was more about just keeping people hooked on the mystery box. Just add another mystery box. People are kind of like, not they're getting too close to the truth. Add another mystery box, change it up. And that's basically how that show fell apart. Also, hello to Adrian Curry in the chat. Happy birthday. And
yes, Adrian, I saw you were there. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Adrian Curry is an old school nerd girl. So props to her. A lot of nerd cred.
I remember her kicking the ass of somebody who groped a cosplayer at San Diego Comic-Con. That was amazing.
I wish I could have saw that. Because you know what? That needs to happen more.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I mean, we're kind of going to stay on this track a little bit because I wanted to, I saw this today and I wasn't even going to talk about this today. Actually, before I do that though, Anna, you just finally finished or watched The Acolyte. And I said I would never talk about, I'd never talk about Star Wars again on my show, but because you're here.
Two episodes left.
Okay, but I said I would never talk about Star Wars again, but since you're here, and I cannot talk about Star Wars if I have That Star Wars Girl on my show. So your tweets have been hilarious, and of course, get you in trouble, right?
Of course. Yes.
So you're on episode 4.
No. I have 2 episodes left. So how many? I just finished episode 6.
I think there were 6, right?
No, there was 8.
Oh dear God, I forgot.
So the next one I heard.
Well, technically 3 and 6 were the same episode, so there were technically
3 and 7. 3 and 7. Seven's the seven's the flashback. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that they're the next episode's an entire flashback, and then there's the big finale. But I need to take breaks, guys. I can't do it all at once.
No, I get it. But okay, but so far, what has been your opinion?
Well, if you ask Twitter, apparently I'm the biggest Acolyte fan ever right now. They're like, you tweeted about it. I'm like, did you read any of those tweets? I don't think anyone that actually read them would consider me a fan. But did you watch any of my coverage of it? It's fun.
I did actually.
Did you watch the episode where I drew the map?
No, I missed that one.
Okay, I think I deleted the map. But so the one episode where they're in the forest.
Wait, you did a whole map?
I had to draw a map because I'm okay. So the episode where she comes face to face with the twin, they have the battle, right, with all the Jedi. Did everyone here watch it? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you know how when they take off Zipper Face's mask and it's the ugly Asian guy, which everyone is trying to say is hot now. I'm like, what weird universe are we living in? But anyways, okay. So how the bad guy shirtless weirdo, and then you got the Asian guy right here, the other Asian guy. Okay,
Soul, the Korean guy named Soul.
Soul, I know, right? So Soul gets knocked out and falls down, right? He's in this little area, and then the bad guy runs off because he's getting chased by the bugs. Well, okay, so her twin was standing up on that ledge where they were talking, right? And she like shot her or something, or no, she shot Soul. That's why Soul knocked out. And then she goes up on that ledge and is talking to her twin, and then they fight, and she knocks her out and falls right there. So I'm like, wait a second. Based on this layout that you guys created, when Soul wakes up, she should be passed out like right here, and he should be standing literally right here, like 5 feet away from her, because based on the shots, she's that close to him. So I drew a map, and I'm like, they would be right here. So he would be standing up looking at her. The other twin that put on her clothes, she didn't even bother to put the twin in her clothes, so he would think it was the other twin, which they should have brought back on the ship with them anyways. So, and I'm like, based on the way that everything is set up, this is all within like 10 feet of each other. So you're
Yes.
telling me that all of this, and then when he broke the guy's neck, Yord, I'm like, he was standing right
I mean,
behind him
Shillmonger. Yes.
with a freaking gun, and instead of saving her friend, she just stands there and lets his neck get snapped, and then she uses her gun later to shoot her sister. So I'm like, what? Who needs enemies when you got friends like these, man? These people suck. And nobody uses the Force. None of them.
If it were a comedy about the worst Jedis ever, I'd say it probably would have been a better show.
Yes, yeah,
They
exactly.
should
Right.
play the Benny Hill music.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's
all day
absolutely
long,
ridiculous. But all of these things come down to basically what Ryan George always says on pitch meeting. Why does this happen? Oh, because the story needs to happen, or because I wrote it in the script. None of these things are, and none of the writing that happens today is ever cause and effect. The key to good writing is because of this.
Then
that's
this,
how you
right.
that's how you progress your story. And none of these people do that. They go, I want this to happen, so this happens, even though it makes no sense, as Anna just pointed out.
I want to show you guys my map because I'm very proud of this map. But so I
want to see it.
Okay, so I can't like zoom into it exactly, but so this is from my video. Here, share my screen.
Oh, yes. Here we go.
Okay, so literally, so this Wookiee's house, the bug area, the ship, this is where they fight the bad guy, and this is where the twins have their conversation. So when Soul wakes up, he's literally standing right here. Good twin is knocked out right here. And if you watch that episode, there's no trees, there's no bushes to cover her. So when he stands up and he's looking at bad twin with the direction that he's literally facing where good twin is passed out, and they're right here. And the reason I know this is because when bad twin shoots Soul, she's standing right up here on this ledge, and good twin walks up there and they have the conversation right here. So I'm like, he is so incompetent as a Jedi master. He couldn't see the girl laying 5 feet in front of him. That's clearly her because she has tattoos. Just because the other twin cuts her hair off doesn't all of a sudden give her all these tattoos that good twin has. And then they just take off to the ship. So it's like, what am I watching? It's so bad. But I had to draw the map because I'm looking, because I'll take the screenshots so that way when I tweet, people have visuals of what I'm talking about, so they know I'm not freaking lying. It also makes it so much easier when I'm doing a review video and I can just go through tweets with visuals. And I'm realizing this as I'm like going and filming the video. I'm like, wait a second, he's right there, she's right there. They're staring at each other like, oh my god, this is so bad. $180 million. Where the hell did it go?
$180 million. How much did Revenge of the Sith cost?
I don't know.
I think it was like 170, 160. It was more than Revenge of the Sith.
Wow.
Well, you know, you had to.
I don't know where that money went.
You had to pay off all the people that sued the production, like the
No. You know who they had to pay. It was Leslie Headland.
And her terrible wife.
And her wife.
Yeah.
That's where all the money went.
Okay, did
Just-
you guys see any of the High Republic books that like this is kind of based off of that came out? Like any of the images for it?
Yeah,
I did only because of Comic-Con. They always have that High Republic stand that no one ever goes to. So I did see some of the characters that I kind of sort of recognize, but other than that, never touched the books.
Okay,
My friend
so
Daphne was walking by that booth at Comic-Con and they were handing out Acolyte posters.
Yes.
And they were like, here, you want an Acolyte poster? And Daphne was like, no.
I'm good.
No, I don't. I'm good.
Well, before we continue, though, we have another guest joining us, and it is the lovely Miss Reina Creole. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Lorraine.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. Good to see
Oh,
you.
we're just talking about the Acolyte.
Oh, good.
Yes, right.
Lord.
Just
She
in
just-
time,
just
right,
blinks.
Lorraine?
Blinks back out.
Like, I'm
You know
sorry I
what?
stood up.
Unlike Ahsoka, I actually got a little bit of joy in Ahsoka because I love Rosario Dawson, and there were, little things that I could laugh at that were so bad that they were funny that I
Yes.
could laugh at. But with the Acolyte, it was so bad. There was nothing to laugh at. Well, I mean, a lot to laugh at, haha, but it's just like, this is the state of, of Star Wars now.
Yeah,
I
it was
laughed
more, it was
when,
more sad
Jackie-
than anything else.
I laughed when
It-
Jackie got 3-hole punched. I thought that was pretty fun. I started laughing uncontrollably. I
Which
was like,
one?
the one that looks like Neelix from the Jackie. I think her name is.
X-23.
Daphne Keene.
Daphne
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
when she
why
got-
did they make her so ugly? Because I saw her in Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm like, oh my God.
You can't
she's
have the women looking
gorgeous.
too attractive anymore. So
That's
Can't be
true.
more attractive than the main women.
yeah,
Right?
That's true. And even if you are the main women, they will put you in the ugliest ass potato sack that they can find to stick you
Did
in.
you guys see that post from all the Rings of Power today? And
Oh
everyone's
my
just
God.
realizing that one girl, the Hobbit girl, and she's like the hottest one, like super high fashion. It's like, what the heck?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did this
Oh,
poor-
why is that?
Yeah. They got
Well, you know, it's
Galadriel
funny,
in
though.
a trash bag.
Because it's kind of like basically the same thing going on with video games. And it's funny
Mhm.
now that, since we're talking about Star Wars and video games, I actually want to bring up Outlaws because let's see, I saw a video today from Star Wars Theory, and what he had to say was pretty interesting. And you guys out there in the chat who don't know what Star Wars Theory is, he's literally the biggest Star Wars streamer in the world. The guy really
Mhm.
kind of carved a niche for himself in the YouTube space, and he's great. I like him a lot. I think he gets a lot of shit for no reason, really. Because to be honest with you, he's probably the most fair reviewer when it comes to Star Wars that I think I've seen. He actually does give these things a fair shake. And if they're bad, they're bad. And if they're good, they're good. And if they're good, he will say they're good. But here's a video that he put out today. And this is about Outlaws. And it's about how he was supposed to get I guess some kind of deal where he was going to review Outlaws for Ubisoft, or Ubisoft reached out to him, and it's kind of interesting what he has to say.
And stuff and just did so much promotion. Look, at the end of the day, if I like a show, if I like a game, you're going to see me talk about it like crazy. You're going to see me promote it like crazy, not for any reason like they're giving me money or anything like that, but because I actually enjoy it and I'm propelled through my own emotions to speak about something positively. And if, the same goes if it's shit, if it's bad, like the Acolyte, in my opinion, I am emotionally charged to talk about how this is destroying something that I really love and really care about, which is Star Wars, George Lucas Star Wars. And yeah, like you're going to get that. I don't know if it's bad press or not, but you're going to get my view on that. And that's that. At the end of the day, yeah, they did reach out. We were potentially going to do something. I gave them an exorbitant amount of money. I was like, well, you need to give me this. And look, like there's going to be a ton of things in the contract that will not bind me to any sort of tailoring of what I need to or don't need to say about this game. If it's complete ass, I'm going to be totally candid about that. And so at the end of the day, nothing was signed. Nothing was done, and I'm happy about that because the game looks like absolute shit.
He's not wrong.
But there you go, man. They didn't want him to be honest, so that's why the deal fell through, right?
Well, you're
And
allowed to be honest if you're on, if they're giving you a review copy and they're flying you out and they're doing all these things. That's the unspoken contract, or maybe sometimes the.
oh yeah, no, exactly. That's what a shield is, right? A shield is
Mhm.
someone who is bought and paid for.
Exactly,
And
just like with the Disney influencers, so to speak, the ones that got tickets and accommodation to go to D23 and all that, but the very explicit wording is that they can't say anything bad about it.
And it's interesting when we talk about games like this, because we all know Grums, we know Cabrutus, and these guys who've kind of really made a name for themselves when it comes to calling out these companies like Sweet Baby Inc. And Grums even coined the phrase, the woman man jaw, right? Because it's like all these women look like men, basically. And I remember hearing from somebody who's in the industry, and I'm not going to say their name because they work with people, but they basically said that, and I think Gore was with me when we were talking to this person, but they said that the unspoken thing is now in gaming is you can't make the women too attractive because it'll upset trans women, and you can't make the men too masculine because it'll upset trans men.
Why are we catering to less than 1% of the population who
That's
may or
the
may
question.
not even
About to say that, yeah.
That's
Here's an idea. Here's a wild idea. You want to satisfy Sweet Baby Inc. people, and you want to satisfy regular gamers. Give everybody an attractiveness slide. When you meet a new character, they can adjust it. If they move it up, the character gets hotter and becomes more like Stellar Blade. If they move it down, it becomes the fat trash bag hobo that Sweet Baby Inc. wants to make every character. That way, the people that want to play a game and appreciate beauty and appreciate aesthetics can have what they want. And then the people who have to make everything unattractive so they feel better about themselves instead of getting off their ass and doing something about it to improve their own life, they can have what they want too. How about that?
Well, you're describing Sims.
Yeah, thank you.
Like Sims, when you make your, which I agree. I think you should be able to make your person however you want it. Now, even like with Elden Ring, I love Elden Ring. I 100% will never play it again as a female character. It took me 3 hours to make my character look somewhat feminine, and she still is very man looking. So I have to hide her with like masks and armor. A dude, like 5 minutes. Dude's hot as hell. But I'm like, really? 3 hours to make a girl look like a girl? And 5 minutes to make a dude look like an attractive dude. It's so frustrating. But on that note, I do have to go. I have a Star Trek show that I do every Wednesday. So I got to go and over to that. But thank you for having me on, Dante.
Oh, yeah, I definitely want to have you on again. Thank you so much for taking your time, man. Again, I know you're pregnant. You got things you got to focus on.
Food and
That's some
water.
sleep.
Yeah,
Yes.
no kidding. No, he's like, oh, you're trying to sleep, Mom? All right. Well,
Not
thanks for having me on.
today.
I got to run. Bye, everyone.
Sienna.
Later. Funny that what Aaron just said, you just basically exploded the development budget by like a factor of 10.
Well,
No,
you know
but
what?
no,
So
not
much is
to say
wasted.
not to say that that's a bad thing, because smart market research and a smart development company would say, okay, yeah, maybe we could kind of do that. Maybe instead of infinite combinations, guess what? We give you like a bank of 10 from, the chick who fell out the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down to, oh God, all that stuff is fake, but I
Well,
don't
that's
care
really any
'cause she looks
RPG.
hot.
Most RPGs, you can create your own character, right?
Yeah, customize
So
them, yeah.
Right.
I don't understand, like Aaron, like you said, why are we catering to like 0.01% of gamers, right?
Mhm.
It makes no sense to me.
It's
Well, I can
called
tell you
the
why.
agenda.
Well, listen.
Yeah, I can tell you
Hogwarts
exactly
Legacy
why.
improved.
They
Hogwarts
need to
Legacy-
push the agenda. They need people to see this as normal. All right, this fat, ugly, weird looking character. They just want to normalize all this stuff. And so that's why they won't allow you to customize it, because immediately what Aaron's saying, oh, I'm going to the attractive character right off rip. I'm not even like, let's slide this right on over to the attractive scale. And that's what I'm playing with. And so I don't have to sit up here and look at this ugly character for the next however long I'm playing this game. That's why they do it. They don't want,
But
they're trying to
also-
normalize it because of their agendas.
Right. And actually, Aaron is right. And Hogwarts Legacy, which is why I love that
Yep.
game and why it was maligned as I don't know what, and made $1 bazillion worth of money. They did that. Now, the reason why these companies are doing this crazy stuff like catering to 1%, not putting out games, I don't know what the heck it is. I guess it's, there's better ways to, you know, spend your time, like watching paint dry, than playing some of these games. But it's because they get this ESG money that comes
Right.
with strings.
Yep.
That says, if you want all of this money, you need to do what we want. It's no longer the model of, okay, we make a good game, we make a crap ton of money, we take that money, invest it into the next great game. So you no longer have gaming companies that are run by gamers for gamers. You have gaming companies run by executives who want that ESG money, and they don't give a crap about you gamers except to keep paying that money for broken ass software that you get released on the first day. That's the model has changed, and that's what it is. And until that money runs out, you're going to keep seeing that.
But you know what, though? I
ESG
noticed
money is not making up. It's not making up for the losses that they're taking on these AAA games.
But
So-
I noticed they only do this though with female characters, right? Because the male characters, look at Carl Kestis. He looks exactly like the actor who plays him, right? You look at any other male character, they look exactly. Oh my God, Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk 2077. He looks exactly. The Johnny Silverhand looks exactly like Keanu Reeves, right? So I'm gonna show you guys the model for the girl in Star Wars Outlaws. That's the model, and that's what we got in the game.
Look at that chin. Look at that Jesse the Body
man.
Ventura chin that
They did her so dirty, man.
They made her look ugly, but here's the reason why they make these female characters ugly. Okay, you can't have the male gaze. You can't have hot characters.
Yep.
You can't have beautiful, feminine looking women, because that's wrong. You men should not want to look at hot chicks. No, never mind the fact that women want to look at hot chicks when we play games too. I mean, at least I know, you know, I do when I play. But that's it. They don't want the male gaze. And then you also have, you know, the Council of Harpies out there that do not like attractive women. They think that femininity is a problem. They think femininity is a liability. They're threatened by it. And they can't have somebody looking hotter than them. So, of course, they have to make
But why do they hire the most attractive models and then do this to them? They've done this like a thousand times already. They take a hot model and they turn them into this.
Probably because all the models are actually hot. Whoever they're pulling from, your standard modeling agency, they do not hire ugly people. If they do, it's for like this niche thing. But they make money based on how good you look. I mean, back in the day when I thought I wanted to be a model and then figured I couldn't do that diet thing, so I should use my brain instead. All about looks. You don't look hot, forget it. You're not making us money. You don't, you know, we're not going to represent you. So that's probably what they had to choose from, and probably said, this is the homeliest chick we can find in this pile. So we're going to use that.
But you know what though? I got to ask a question. I know you guys are probably going to get tired of me saying this and asking this question, but I'm going to keep saying it because I need to understand. How much money can you keep affording to lose? How much can you really keep affording to lose, man? And that applies across the board, but especially with gaming. Like, how much money can you keep losing?
How much money do they got? The Black Rocks and all these big companies. That's how much they can afford to lose. How much money they got?
Yeah, but can they back the world? I mean, are they that big? Like, they could back every company that's failing because of their policies?
Well, think about where these guys have their money. These guys are the owners of all of the 401ks that government owns. You know, government-owned 401ks. You're talking about like let's say, for instance, the state of California. And, you know, the entirety of their, you know, teachers union 401ks, you know, if they're all invested in BlackRock, then BlackRock has an endless supply of 401k money to dip into, you know. And so, yeah, they have the bread, and they can keep using it to do whatever it is that they need to do, because nobody's about to, you know. I work in finance, so I understand this a little bit. Do you know what it would cost BlackRock, or what it would cost some of these places to have to just like, okay, BlackRock's not returning the investment like we want to. Let's go ahead and just move everything to another company. It would be a monumental effort. There's no way they could pull it off. So BlackRock has got a lot of their own clients by the balls as well, just like, you know, Disney and all of these other various companies. So nobody's going to, you know, say, hey, BlackRock, we don't like what you're doing. We're going to move our investments to another firm. Nobody's going to do that. And so BlackRock just has the money. They just have it like that. And until they lose out on all their money, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon, this is basically what we're looking at. You know, I heard Joe from Good Logic basically on George the Giant Slayer the other day. He was talking and he had a different idea. I don't know, Dante, you were on that stream, right? He had a different idea of basically you have to get these cats to reimagine what ESG means. And if you can get like companies to start rethinking what ESG really means, then maybe you can make some changes that way. But that's going to take like a monumental effort. That's going to be really difficult. This is just the way it is, you know, unfortunately. So, yeah, they got tons of bread. They can lose a lot of money. That's just the way it goes.
Look, man, I get these companies have to hire like these consultants, right? Like these Sweet Baby Ink consultants and this and that. I feel like gaming, though, is such a different animal compared to like film. You know what I mean? And I think gaming, you can only lose so much until you're just done, right? Because gamers will literally just say, you know what? I'm not going to buy it, right? And you're talking about a $60, $70 game. You know, we're not talking about a $20 movie here. We're talking about like $70, $100 game. So what happens when no one buys it?
Well, you know, they lay people off.
Else.
Like, remember for
when no one buys it, it's
called that game was so
Squad.
freaking bad, they shut down the whole gaming studio for that. So that's why you're seeing these like layoffs of these studios. They're not officially like, they're not the AAA name, but they're like the subcontractor to that AAA title. So that's what happened. Money dried up. Guess what? Contract's over. You're out. And it's gonna keep rolling up until the money runs out, or they just say, you know what, we're not getting a real good return on investment. We're just going to put this money somewhere else. Because there's death of 1,000 cuts already happening with layoffs. It's not really big because it hasn't affected the super big titles yet. But it will if they don't course correct.
I mean, they kind of, I don't know. I think the big titles are being affected by this, though.
How's this one going to do? How is Star Wars Outlaws going to do?
Well, they already have their shields out there saying that it's a 10 out of 10 game, right? Now, to be honest with you, and to be fair, I don't know. I haven't played it yet. You know, I'm not going to say if it's good or bad. All I'm going to say is, though, it's kind of weird to me that, you know, a site like IGN gives it a 10 out of 10 when they've given like way better games a lesser score.
Yeah, that's sus.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a little weird. 10 out of 10, okay.
But see, that's the problem. You have the media, you know, basically backing up all of these guys. So if the media is on your side and that's the narrative that the media is pushing out there, you know, and then you have, you know, all of the influencers that they paid off to come out and say the exact same thing. So now you get the double whammy coming from both sides. We got social media influencers saying this. We got all of these other, you know, trusted sources, you know, IGN apparently. And a lot of normie gamers that don't really listen to these spaces, they're just going to go, oh, yes, must be a great game. Let me go ahead and get it. And so it's still going to perform, you know, relatively well. You know, they'll cook the books in some other way to make it look like a success. And there you have it. And they'll just rinse and repeat until, you know, the money runs out. But I don't think I think they got a lot of money and it's just going to continue to be like this, you know, until we start, you know, growing our spaces out a little bit more. I think, honestly, the solution to a lot of this stuff is what we're doing here is this kind of breaks all of the gaslighting that a lot of mainstream media does when it comes to film and games and everything else. What we do here in these spaces breaks a lot of that gaslighting to the point where everybody's like, yeah, this game actually was kind of trash, you know, even though IGN said it was great, even though all of these, you know, all these other guys are great, you know, this game really is trash because I was watching some other YouTubers or I was watching some other cats and they were like, yeah, this, you know, so that's where we got to start. We got to start building these spaces out, and that's what's going to change things.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, man. We heard what Theory said, right? I mean, basically, they were close to, you know, having a deal until he said, I'm going to be honest, right? Then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah.
Again, the biggest Star Wars content creator in the world. That could have really pushed their game, right?
Absolutely.
They were so afraid of him saying something negative that they backed out.
Yeah. They need him to be 100%.
I'd love to take on Star Wars Theory in some Star Wars Trivial Pursuit. I think I can take him.
You know what? I'd love to see it. I love to host it.
There you go.
All right. So really quick before I move on, because actually we are staying on this topic, but I need to get through some of these super chats real quick since I missed a few last time. All right. Sean Z for $4.99. Please let Alan know I say happy birthday, Dante. I don't have social media anymore. Oh, that sucks. He's the only one that ever took a chance on me. Alan Ing for life. Alan is a good man. Alan's a good man. One of these days, I'm going to make Alan drink a beer with me because I know Alan doesn't drink, but I'll get him. All right, Shazi for $4.99. Let's do it, Dante. Let's get it, Dante. Dante for life. Alan Ing for life. Chris Gore for life. Can't wait. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Let's see. We have another one from Sean. Cool. Oh no, sorry. This is Adrian. Adrian for 10. Here's some money before they demonetize you. It's really only a matter of time. It's really only a matter of time. Let's see. Here we go. Sean Z for $4.99. DA didn't know you're coming through. You need a place to stay. You're coming to Houston. Do you have a place to stay? You have a place to stay with me for free. Serious.
Yo, I appreciate that, Sean Z. No, I actually do have a spot. My son is actually already out there in Houston, and I'm going to be bunking in with him at his hotel room. So we already got it covered. But I appreciate the offer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's
if you're coming through, hey, hang out at Anime Matsuri. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's a good offer. Chris Gore, $4.99 for Anna's little alien. Yep, Anna is very pregnant. And let's see. James. Man, I am just as bad as Alan when it comes to reading some of these names. James Rakuti? Rakushio?
Richie Udi, maybe?
AKA Gen X Fed. You know what? I'm going to just call you Gen X Fed from now on. For $9.99. Great group today. Some of my favorites. I love that the Turkish marksman. He made the Olympics for me. I agree. That guy is a stud. He is the perfect anime character.
When someone says some of my favorites are on the panel, I'm always tempted to go, and I'm here as well.
But yeah, so staying on this topic in a way, I learned recently that Kotaku has a new editor-in-chief, and I want to get into this guy for a minute. So this dude, Austin Williams, right? What's funny to me about this guy is I've heard things about him. I've heard he's if you think Alyssa Mercanti is bad, he's like twice. He's twice that. I mean, this guy is all in, right? So they hired this guy to be the new editor-in-chief. But this is what I found interesting, right? Like he knows nothing. He's not a gamer. He knows nothing about games. It says that that before Kotaku, he worked at BuzzFeed, Vibe, and BET. Nothing to do with gaming whatsoever, right? But he's also an activist. So is that just a requirement to work at Kotaku?
Yeah.
Just be an activist, and that's you got the job.
I mean, they don't make any money,
I saw the line down there on that second paragraph right underneath that. It said he understands the zeitgeist. Austin understands the zeitgeist and how to mine it. So they're looking for like somebody that's connected, I guess, to the social current, not games. Yeah, we're not here for games, guys. We're here to understand the zeitgeist.
Even though they're a gaming magazine, right?
Right, exactly. See, that shows you everything. That tells you everything you need to know about Kotaku. They are not here for what gamers are here for. They're here for something else. And so if you bring in an editor-in-chief that don't know a damn thing about games, and he's been a part of all of these social, like, kind of, conversations, and he understands the zeitgeist and how to mine it, boom, there it is. They don't care about games. They care about the zeitgeist, what's going on out there in the world, and how can we talk to that? And you should be discussing games. This is what this magazine is about, games. So it's another reason why Kotaku is slowly failing.
Well, what was funny too is I I heard it. There was some controversial things on his Twitter feed, or his X feed or whatever. So I went to go check him out, and of course this happens. Of course this happens, right?
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Tweets are protected.
Why?
And if you notice, they all do this, right? All of a sudden, they shut off their feed to the public because you know what you're going to find there.
Yep. They got to go back and scrub everything out, and then they'll unlock it.
Yeah. Once they delete like the problematic tweets or whatever, then just like the DA was saying, they'll open it back up and they'll just be like, hey, I'm back. I'm here. I'm the new editor of Kotaku. The only thing that they want to do with games is to tell you gamers how crappy you are.
Yeah.
And how you're on the wrong side of history. You exist to produce the anti-content, so to speak.
The thing I don't get, though, is who reads Kotaku, right? Like, I know a lot of gamers, man. In fact, it's funny. Like, when I was thinking about, like, what I was going to do with this channel before I created it, it's actually going to be a gaming channel, just pure gaming, because that's what I do, And I know a lot of gamers, like a lot. And I don't know any of them. I know some that read IGN. I don't know why they do, but they do. I know nobody who reads Kotaku. So who's their...
It's a platform for ideology. It's a platform for Alyssa Mercante to get out there and spew her nonsense. That's basically what it is. That's all this magazine has been for years now. It's not something for game. Like when they came out and said Kotaku was about to, drill it down to just gamer guides, I thought that was brilliant. Like, okay, let's just go back to gamer guides because that's really what this thing should be about anyway. Yeah, they don't care about, anything but preaching a message or telling gamers that they suck and you're terrible people. And this is the stuff that we need to promote. Blah, 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 blah. That's basically what Kotaku is here for, So, and guess what? They probably have plenty of. They probably have plenty of support from all the folks. Just like we were talking about with the other games and the movies and everything. They got plenty of support from some ESG money somewhere down the line that's going to continue to fund it because it checks that, oh, okay, these are activists. These are progressive activists that want to, preach a message and they got the agenda down pat. All right, great. So let's get in this cultural zeitgeist guy that understands all of that BS.
The guy from BET.
Right, the BET guy. Is he a gamer? He don't care about games. He probably never played a game in his life, but he's going to be the editor-in-chief of the, the gamer, progressive activist magazine, which is all it is. It's stuff is so easy to see now. Before I used to be just like why? Now it's starting to all make sense. Like this is all just engineered towards another piece of the agenda.
So if you're a company though, right? If you're a gaming company, I'm trying to understand what would be the drawback of telling these other companies, hey, you know what? We don't want your help. We don't want your consulting, right? Now, I understand that they are threatening these companies and they're doing all these things behind the books, right? Yep. Behind the curtain. But if you just had the balls to say, no, I'm not going to do that, and gamble that your game is good enough that gamers will pick it up, why don't more companies do that?
Good question.
Right? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I short term and long term. Short term, these gaming companies are like, you know what? I can make all this ESG money.
Sure.
I'm going to get it. And as long as I keep pumping out, this content keeps pumping out, I'm going to keep getting that kind of money. But they're not looking long term what's going to happen when they don't have enough people buying their crappy games to keep them in business. So they're extremely short-sighted.
But the thing is, it's not just the game though, right? You got to keep the servers going on a lot of these games, right? There's a lot that goes into this gaming thing, man. So you're gambling your whole existence on this garbage. And then you have people like us. You have people like us calling it out. Right?
And that's the problem is that you, again, with the gaming companies, they have fundamentally changed. They're no longer gamers from the CEO level on down that are heads down, dropping code, putting out games that people want to play. Instead, you've got people in these companies who aren't gamers.
Right.
And they're not really interested in giving you a good quality game. They're interested in keeping you hooked on a subscription model. So you have to keep paying for it. That's what the whole industry has changed from. Now you have some people in those corporations who are just like, no, you shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. They'll get rid of those people in a heartbeat. That'll happen too. They're usually the first ones that are shown the door.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
I like every now and then I ask myself, like, when will this end? When will this just finally end? When can we get back to normalcy and just making games that are fun, right? And I'll be honest with you guys, man, the games I play now, I only play indie games at this point, or games that I've had already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I haven't bought a new game probably since Mortal Kombat 1. That's the last big game I bought. But I'm having more fun playing indie games at this point because they're creative. There's no agenda. It's just a good time. And I highly recommend, all you guys do the same thing. Just play good indie games, man. Like and they deserve it. These are small companies, small developers. They put a lot of heart into their games, and they're not trying to force it down your throat.
Nope.
Yeah,
I agree.
And there's a laundry list of good free games out there, man. I might do a video on that. Just free games that are really good and come from indie creators. All right. Let's see. So the next topic is actually kind of funny to me because I'm always hit or miss on this guy. Probably more miss lately, but I was watching a video with Eli Roth, right? Filmmaker.
Yeah.
He just did Borderlands. I don't know if you guys have seen this video, but it kind of really ticked me off, and I want us to watch it, and I'll explain why.
Why did you decide to go down the route of those changes?
It wasn't about changing age. I'm reading the script and I'm not thinking about the game. I'm thinking about the movie. I'm not thinking, oh, this person is a certain age in the game. They have to be that. Yes, Tiny Teen is a kid. But for everyone else, I go, who are the best actors? And you're talking about the best actor in the world. You go right to Cate Blanchett. She said yes. Once you have Cate Blanchett, I went to Jack Black to play Claptrap, Jamie Lee Curtis to play Tannis. I do think there's a tremendous amount of ageism in Hollywood. And it's kind of, I understand why people bring it up. But again, the games are the games, the movies are the movies. So there's certain things that felt right. But, once, I wanted Gina Gershon to play Moxie. I thought she was brilliant at it. So for me, it's always about getting the best actors in the world and watching them in screen, do something that they've never done before.
So he's saying that he didn't want to stick to the source material because basically he wanted to do his own thing, right? And there's certain games that lend themselves to being cinematic, right? Like we have Fallout, which was a great show, I thought. And that game lends itself to cinematics. You know what I mean? We had The Last of Us, which, love or hate the show, it was a decent show, and the game lends itself to that kind of thing, right? Borderlands is one of those games that lends itself to cinema. Like they could have had like an amazing trilogy out of this series, but he decides he doesn't want to stick to the source material at all, like not even a little bit, right? Where's the logic in that?
This is
Yeah,
what
I
you
was
see with
talking about
everything.
this.
Like,
Go ahead, Aaron.
Like if you guys remember when they did the G.I. Joe movie, G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, what did they do? They put everybody in black leather. They did that for X-Men. It's like you have the, Cobra Commander, who's got one of the most iconic looking costumes, and these Borderlands characters, they're all iconic looking character designs. And granted, the character designs look the same, but you didn't cast actors appropriately. I think Cate Blanchett is great. I was like, oh, cool, she's in this movie. But like, I understand why people are upset. That's not the character that they want to see. That's not the thing that they love, and that when you grab onto a fandom and you say, we're going to make that thing, the reason that you're making that thing is because it comes with a pre-established fandom. So you're hedging your bets that it's not going to fail because you've already got a built-in audience. When you alienate that audience, much like G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, you didn't use those iconic looking characters and you just made it bland generic action movie because some costume designer has to put their stamp on it. You alienate the fan base and these projects fail. How many times have they taken something and deviated from the source material and it's been a success as opposed to an abject failure?
I mean, that's a good question. Probably not often though, man. I mean, as far as it being a success, I mean, it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys remember back in like the 90s, man, like the rare times we did get something geek related or superhero related, they would always go with just a plain black costume. They would never give the heroes or the characters their actual costume. Remember that? Like back in the day?
Yeah.
You know, maybe I can understand it for the 90s, right? But we're living in 2024, all the technology in the world. Like, there's really no excuse to not stay true to the source material now, especially after we just had the MCU.
Yeah, with Wolverine in his full gold costume. Like, you know, everybody wants some authenticity. But it seems like a lot of these filmmakers don't really care about the authenticity. They just have an idea in their head of what it is that they want to do. Actually, I'm going to share something with you, Dante. This is another part. I don't know if you saw this piece of it. This is another part of that same interview that he had. Let me just play this real quick. Listen to what he's saying, what he wanted to do, you know, instead of doing Borderlands. Listen to this, because this is what I was talking about, or this is what I thought you were about to talk about.
Do you have a favorite Easter egg that's featured in the movie?
The answer is yes, I do. But yeah, it does differ. I mean, look, the games are the games and the movie's the movie. And that was one of the first things I talked to Randy Pitchford, the creator, about. I was like, I want to make a great, big, fun sci-fi movie. I want to do a mix of, you know, Star Wars and Mad Max and Fifth Element and Barbarella and Blade Runner and Escape from New York. I want all of these things in there. I don't want to just recreate what's in the game. And he was great. He's like, go for it. The games are their own canon and the movie is its own thing.
So like he's basically saying, I want to do all of these other movies. I want to do a mishmash of a whole lot of different movies. I'm not trying to do Borderlands. No, I just want to use the Borderlands IP so I can launch whatever it is I want to do. And that's what a lot of these filmmakers keep doing. They have their own ideas cooked up in their little heads. Oh, I got to do this, and this. I have this grand plan. Like, I actually think they might have even had a script ready to go for some other sci-fi thing that they wanted to do. And they just needed to attach a big IP to it. And that's what gets it off the ground. So then they'll switch around some characters, they'll change things up or whatever. But that's what we're getting from Hollywood in a lot of ways. We're just getting, like, I'm using this IP to tell a story. It has nothing to do, my IP has nothing to do with the story, you know, and that's basically what we're looking at. So all of this kind of stuff is just getting on my nerves, man. Like, can you just pay respect to the original source material, please? Because
Adrian Curry makes a good point. They're all old, right?
Yeah.
I love Kate Blanchett, but come on.
Yeah.
For this,
Jamie Lee Curtis, come on.
They're all too old. They're probably ageist, but it's like, yeah, they're all too old. But to kind of go back to the thing of respecting the source material, they don't want to. Just like what the DA alluded to, they want to create their own thing. We'll put it this way: this type of director wants to create his own thing. So to hell with your canon. I'm going to do the movie that I want to do, and to hell with you nerds. You pay money and you go and see it. As opposed, because prime example, and I'm going to bring this up because I had to suffer through all these freaking episodes, She-Hulk. Okay. Granted, I didn't buy every single She-Hulk comic, but I bought enough of them to know what she was like. So I was honestly excited about the darn show. And then I see it, and it's basically a third wave feminist manifesto.
Yeah.
That is not who She-Hulk is. And that's one of the reasons why that whole freaking show went to hell in a handbasket, because they didn't follow the comics canon. They didn't care about the comics canon. That's kind of like what it is. They don't care. They care more about making their own personal stamp, as opposed to saying, it's my stamp on it, but it's an entry into the lore that exists. And that respect is gone.
Yeah, if you have respect for the source material, that's exactly what you should be doing.
Aaron, are you muted?
Aaron, that respects the source material.
Yeah,
but then,
okay.
But just to finish that point, because I got to drop in a couple of minutes, but something that respects the source material, it gives respect, but it's still like the original creator's take or his own, you know, kind of spin on it or whatever. But it gives utter respect to the source material. And that's what these guys don't want to do. All they want to do is play like, what's the name? Ryan Johnson said, play in the sandbox. I want to play in this sandbox of entertainment of this property because it's at my disposal, but I don't want to respect it at all. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And that's why Hollywood keeps failing. It's so disrespectful to the fans that built these franchises into what they became. Borderlands fans deserve a great Borderlands movie that honors the source material. That's not what they want to give them. They did. Oh, I'm just going to give you Star Wars, Barbarella, Mad Max. What else did he say? Fifth Element, and all these other random films. And it's like, why don't you just give us Borderlands, bro?
Right, the movie you were hired to do. Give us that movie.
Right. It's insane.
I had a comment, but now that Derek went on his rant, all I gotta say is, "Oh, my brother, testify!" That was amazing. I gotta bounce out. This was a lot of fun. I'd love to come back anytime with any one of you. And you guys, chat. Thank you so much. You guys have a good night.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
man. Thanks,
it.
Aaron.
Thank you.
Later.
Aaron.
Yeah,
I got to roll too, man. But thanks, Dante. Thank you
man, absolutely,
as well, Lorena, for all the work you do. I love both of you guys. You guys make sure you're subscribed to Lorena. I already know you subscribe to Dante. Make sure. Yeah, did Lorena came a little late. She didn't get an opportunity to shoot her stuff like we did at the beginning.
She's going to for sure. Yeah, I'll make sure.
Okay, just making sure. But everybody, peace out. Thank you, Dante. Thank you, Verbal Riot crew. Everybody in the chat, appreciate the love and support. I'll see y'all around.
See you later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the biggest Borderlands fan in the world. I played all 3 games. I like all 3 games. When I heard about the movie, I was like, okay, let's see where it goes. But after like seeing those interviews, I have no interest in watching the movie because it's not a Borderlands movie.
No, I mean, at your recommendation, I actually did I buy it? I think I did because it was free to play. So I bought it, but I had it sitting in my queue in the Epic Games Store. And not too long after that, I saw a trailer preview for the Borderlands movie. And I'm like, granted, I haven't played it. This does not look good. And then I saw the extended trailer when I went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. And I'm like, I really don't want to see this movie at all. It's just like, I don't know what it is. Well, and I don't even want to know what it is based on the trailer that they gave. It's like, is this supposed to be a video game movie? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, you just saw right there why you probably shouldn't watch it. I mean,
yeah,
you're not going to watch a Borderlands movie. Basically, that's the problem. Yeah. So basically, I only have one more topic. So because we're going to wrap it up pretty soon, but I do want to talk about this. And that is Deadpool and Wolverine's box office, because I don't know, man. Like I have seen, a lot of people lately, kind of shitting on the movie, and saying that, it wasn't that good, this and that, which is fine. But numbers don't lie, right? The numbers don't lie. And for, whether you liked it or not, you can't deny that it's going to hit $1 billion, probably, like they said, by the weekend. So what is this telling studios, right? Are studios going to look at this and learn their lesson and say, hey, you know what? Let's get back to making good films with good stories? Or are they going to look at this and say, nope, we're going to keep sticking to what we're doing with the agendas and with terrible writing and hiring activists? Do they stay on track with that? Or do they actually look at Deadpool and Wolverine and say, you know what? Maybe we need to change it up again?
No, I think Hollywood is too stuck on themselves right now. And there's too many films that are in the pipeline right now that are following this agenda. I've noticed the majority of the Hollywood press basically pissing on this movie. Every chance that they could get, they're pretty much just crapping on it. It's not great, it's formulaic, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the regular people who are paying their own money to see this movie are paying it in droves and coming back word of mouth, telling people how good it is and how much money it's making. Because let's go back a little bit. Inside Out 2 made money, I think, because they had a come to Jesus meeting and they needed a hit quick for Disney. So I think they made a couple of changes to that film before they put it out.
Right.
Twisters, which I saw in the theater, did extremely well. You had outlets like the Hollywood Reporter saying, oh, well, how come there isn't a climate change message? Because climate change was never the message of Twisters. It was about
and I respect the director saying that. Like, he basically said, look, I'm not making a movie about climate change. I'm making a movie that is entertaining, fun to watch, and you could, eat some popcorn and drink a beer and watch it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. And probably the most America movie that I have seen all week. Case in point, fireworks and a tornado. That's all I'm going to say. It was just a cool movie to sit back, kick back, watch, with the same human story of what could we do to give people more warning of a natural disaster like this. That's what the story was about. No matter who you are, where you're from, you can relate to that. And it was beautifully shot. The soundtrack was banging. I am not a country and Western person, but dang it, they had some standards on there where I'm like, okay, I remember that. So I need to get that. Twisters made a crap ton of money. Then they're releasing it in 4DX and IMAX, I believe. So that's going to make more money, and I plan to go see it. Then you have Deadpool and Wolverine. So technically, that's 3 of them together. I don't think Hollywood's really going to learn its lesson, really, at least not right away. They will be in denial until they cannot deny it anymore. And then they'll say something like, well, we've evolved.
But numbers don't evolve. They numbers are numbers. You can't deny them to the numbers, right?
You definitely cannot. You can't deny that these movies are making money, but you have got some of these people still infiltrated in the studios who aren't ready to tap out yet. So that's kind of what I'm saying. The smart studios will figure this out. You have Bob Chapek actually to thank for this movie, not Bob Iger. Iger's out there taking credit for it, but Chapek was the one who's like, look, we need to start making some money with these Marvel films. What's the last Marvel film that really, really made some darn money besides Endgame?
I think Guardians might have been the only one after, and it wasn't as much. You know what I mean? But I think Guardians was the only one that made like decent money.
Yeah, it was okay amount.
But that was a James Gunn movie. That wasn't a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because James Gunn can actually write relationships between characters and in movies. So that was okay. And it's like it did pretty decent. But Twisters, that's Universal. So I'll make an adjustment to that. Universal definitely knows where their money comes from. The whole Minions franchise, Despicable Me, and they did Twisters. They know where their money is coming from, and let's see. No, Barbie was Warner. Was Barbie Warner Brothers?
Yeah, Barbie was Universal.
Warner. Okay,
that was
Oppenheimer.
Warner.
Was Oppenheimer?
That was Warner too.
That was Warner too. Okay, that's how they did Universal. Yeah. But Universal's been putting out some pretty dang good films.
I mean, for again, people have heard me and Gore talk about this a lot. That Marvel is, at least the MCU's they're trying to get back on track. How long it'll be before we see that happen? Who knows? Because they have other things that they have to put out first, unfortunately, like Ironheart and all those shows and Agatha.
Yeah, they're coming out.
But they realized they made a mistake. Lucasfilm, on the other hand, no, they're done. They think they're on the right track, which is crazy to me. But Marvel is at least trying, which it's funny because now that we're talking about this, I wanted to bring this up really quickly before we wrap it up. I want to get your what you thought on this. Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom.
Kevin Feige, I hate your ass for this. I really do, and here's why. I love Robert Downey Jr. to death. Tony Stark is my favorite MCU character, and I went through hell when they killed him in Endgame. Then, well, no, they killed him in Infinity War, and then
Endgame,
Doctor
Endgame.
Strange, and it's an Endgame.
Yeah.
Well, they did in Infinity War.
No, he lived.
But they brought him back.
He survived with Nebula in Infinity War.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
so
Endgame is where he,
Yeah, Endgame was when he really, really, really died. But
yeah,
the other one was where they kind of faked me out. And remember Doctor Strange, he was like, there's only one future where we win. And that's why he brought Tony Stark back. So I'm like, okay. And then he died for real in he died for real in Endgame. So I'm like, you mean to tell me you're going to throw out that sacrifice for this?
It makes no sense.
I get it. I get it from the studio head idea, and as a fan, I don't like this. I would have liked it better if you would have shot the darn movie and we found out in the credits that it was Robert Downey Jr. That would be different. But as a studio head, they're thinking, okay, how can we make money? Let's bring Robert Downey Jr. back.
And they probably thought, let's bring him back along with the Russos, and it's nostalgia, right? It's
exactly
it's the original recipe, right? For the MCU. It's the Russos. It's Robert Downey Jr. No, look, from a marketing standpoint, I sort of get it. The problem is that for the fans, again, for the fans who always get screwed in these situations, right?
Yeah.
Fans have been waiting for Doctor Doom since Phase 2. Okay, like we've waited a long time for Doctor Doom. And for them to cheapen that by making it Robert Downey Jr.,
I'm not happy. Again, I was pissed off for that very reason. As a fan, as a comics book fan, I felt disrespected as all hell to see this, because it's the obvious money grab that it is. Normies won't freaking care. Okay, they will not care. It's just like, it's Robert Downey Jr. Hey, yeah, we're going to go and see the movie. But again, we're getting crapped on. The fans that you depend on to float these franchises, yet again, you're going to stab us in the back. And
especially when you think about the actors they could have chose, right? Like Cillian Murphy, or
I would have freaking loved him as
Cillian Murphy as Dr. Doom would have been like inspired casting.
Very much so.
But they played it safe.
They played it safe, and Disney likes to do that. They like to work with the actors that they know. It's like this tight-knit club, and they really do not do risky casting. Like when Marvel was doing their movies through Fox, Robert Downey Jr. was risky casting in the first Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
Fox would do that.
It paid off.
Yeah, and it totally paid off. But now Disney has this cloister of actors they want to use. Or like, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, I'll make money. I'll make plenty of money. Russo brothers, all of that stuff. And it'll all work. It'll bring in the normies, but, Dante, ooh, I get the show now. The normies will go see it. The comic book aficionados are kind of like, what the heck are you doing? And what it's all going to boil down to, and here's the thing, it's going to boil down to, what is that script going to be like? Is it going to be crap? Or is it going to be something where we go in saying, I'm going to hate this freaking movie. And then you get out and you're like, okay, wow, that was actually pretty good. I don't really trust Marvel now.
I think we're getting him in 3 movies, though. We're getting him in Fantastic Four, I believe. He'll probably have a small role, I think, in that. But we're getting him that. We're getting him in that. We're getting him in Doomsday, and then Secret Wars, right?
Yeah.
And I think Secret Wars is 2 parts. So 4 movies, I think. I don't know. I think it's a huge mistake. I trust the Russo brothers, sort of, at least when it comes to the MCU stuff, because their other stuff is not great. But for some reason, they do well with the MCU, and you got to respect that. And I love Robert Downey Jr. See, that's the thing for me. That's the thing that hurts. It's like, I love RDJ, and it's like, I didn't want it this way. I didn't want him to come back this way. I didn't want him to come back at all, but especially not like this.
Same. It's like bringing back a dead corpse, and just like, it's cheap, and whatever you want to say, it's like it cheapens what happened to him when he finally died and he gave that sacrifice, and it all came around full circle from the first Iron Man movie where he was told, you know, don't waste your life.
Yeah, no, it totally cheapens his death.
And now every time we hear his voice, even if they do it with, again, if they do it like with a voice changer, we know who it is. We already know who it is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what they do. But
I think they figured they've already taken a beating with this whole multiverse thing. They know the multiverse is a stupid idea. They know it's lazy. And they know they had no real direction when it came to this multiverse story. Like they're spinning their wheels. So I think in their minds, they're like, how can we wrap this up as quickly as possible so we can get back to normal? And kind of like as a last resort, right? It's like, hey, let's go back to where it all began. And hope the people, you know, have enough nostalgia that they'll support the movie. So I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it. I wish I was, because again, I love RDJ. I think this was a stupid move. But then again, the MCU has made a lot of dumb moves over the past couple of years, so it's not like a new stupid move.
No, and there's several more that are coming up. Captain America, Brave New World,
Looks
Thunderbolts.
Looks awful.
It does. It looks horrible. No one in the theater that I was in, people were just like, "What the heck is this? I don't freaking care what it is." It doesn't.
It's a movie
interested.
we didn't need. It's a character. It's a character swap we didn't need, right? It's like
Exactly.
I know what happens in the comics that he does become Cap. I didn't even like the story in the comics though. I thought that was stupid. The Falcon is his own character. He didn't need to become Captain America, right?
No,
They
that's
could
the
have found
problem
a
that
new Captain America.
Yeah, and that's the problem that I had with Captain America and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I had. I wanted to find out more about Falcon, how he got his superpowers, because I didn't really
He didn't
follow
even
him
have
too
powers.
much.
He's
in
just
the
a guy with a
comics.
suit like Tony Stark, you know?
Exactly. So that was his superpower, like with Tony Stark, his superpower is his engineering mind. So it's like I wanted to find out more about him and his story. I didn't want to see him as Captain America 2.0. And for some reason, somebody thought that was a good idea to do that. So it's like Falcon wasn't enough as Falcon. What I see a big problem, you know, with that happening. So between how bad that series was, and then they bring it, you know, with the movie, then they're doing a Thunderbolts movie.
Yeah,
I don't even know who
and the
that is.
Thunderbolts
Neither do
looks
I care.
really terrible. We saw a little bit of the clips at Comic-Con a few weeks ago. It doesn't look good. It does not look good. And
the Fantastic Four movie, I don't know.
That actually does look pretty good. It looks like, from what I've seen, I mean, I've seen a few things from it, a few video clips, and it feels like the Fantastic Four. It's a period piece. It takes place in the 60s. It feels good so far, but I'm not a big fan of Pedro Pascal, so we'll see.
Yeah, I know that's the thing.
We'll
He's
see.
overexposed as hell.
I don't understand when he became the go-to guy. Like that's what I don't get.
I don't either, you know, and God bless him, but there are hotter men than Pedro Pascal out there.
You know what? You should tell these studios that, because for some reason, like, they go to him for everything now. I'm gonna read one more super chat, and we are going to wrap it up for today. And this is from Devin2677 for $5. There is no way in hell RDJ is playing the real Victor Von Doom. So not only do we not get the real Dr. Doom, we also get a female Silver Surfer. Yes, we do. And by the way, I heard he is playing Victor Von Doom. He's not playing Tony Stark becoming Dr. Doom. So that's even more depressing if you think about it. Yeah, I
thought the female Silver Surfer thing was bad.
I mean, again, I can't even justify it. It's like, you know, what was the point? What was the point of taking a character everybody loves and doing that too? You know, like again, I'll judge the movie when it comes out. The things I have seen look good, so maybe the Silver Surfer thing would just be a small stain on an otherwise great movie. We'll see. But and I even like the actress that they cast as Silver Surfer. I just don't want the gender swap.
Who was who's the actress cast?
I forgot her name, but she plays Ruthie in that Jason Bateman series. I can't remember the name of it. And maybe the chat can remember Ozarks. The Ozarks. She was in the Ozarks, yes. And she's amazing in that show. So I just didn't want her as this.
Vanessa Kirby. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
No, she's playing Invisible Woman. That's Vanessa Kirby. She's playing Mrs. Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great casting, actually. She is extremely cool. In fact, the whole cast, like the four themselves, other than Pedro, I thought they did a fine job with him. You know, I mean, Pedro Pascal is not Reed Richards, but whatever.
I think he was just you know how you have to have the actor that puts the butts in the seats that you think is going to make the money, like the headliner. So that's probably why they picked him. I could think of other people they could pick other than him, but he is just too.
Well, plus he's already been on their payroll as the Mandalorian, so I mean they already had a relationship with him. They know how he works. I mean I get it, and I guess under the right circumstances he could be Reed Richards, but
he's going to have to do some hella acting to convince me that he's Reed Richards, the smartest man in the Marvel universe. I do not get cerebral vibes. I mean, I know people had issues with the cameo with John Krasinski, but I will tell you, I liked seeing him as Reed Richards. Well, he was a
Julia Gardner is the actress name who plays the Silver Surfer.
Okay, hopefully she won't last long, because last time I checked it, from all the comics that I have read, Silver Surfer was a dude.
Yeah, the Silver Surfer is Norrin Rad. I used to be a huge fan back in the 80s and 90s of the Silver Surfer. I had all the comics. So for me, it's like to see this version. And yes, I know even in the comics there has been a female Silver Surfer. I never even liked that. Right? I know she's in the comics. I don't care. I wanted Norrin Rad as the Silver Surfer. But again, like, when do they actually listen to fans anyway? So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for us today. Lorena, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't be here as soon as
no problem.
When the show started.
I'm glad you hopped on.
Oh, add to. Let's see. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter, X. I think it's only been like a week since I've been called a racist, so you have to go over and check that out. It's interesting when I get called. Also, of course, you can find me here on YouTube, various videos and live streams. I just had the Spice Lounge, which Dante's been a guest on. We talked about the dismal Disney Q3 earnings reports and how basically it's you poor people's fault that you can't afford, Disney. That's why.
Jesus Christ. Is that what they're saying? Is that what they're saying now? That it's our fault?
That is pretty much it in a nutshell.
It's our fault that Disneyland is expensive now?
Yeah. They're just like, we've seen demand, lessen from some of the lower income guests with certain pressures that they're dealing with. It's like, it's called inflation, mofo. Okay, really, but that's pretty much the attitude that they said.
That is a new low.
Can't afford to go like they used to, and the richer ones, we can't keep them because they're deciding to not go to our parks and go other places. So that's what happens.
Yeah, because they'd rather go to like Hawaii or the Bahamas, because that's how much it costs now to go to Disneyland. So.
It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, we mixed that up on my channel. Let's see, Thursday I'm going to be live out at Universal Orlando. I'm going to see the Mega Movie Parade, which is awesome throwback to the 80s film. So we're going to see in that, and also checking out the construction of the scare zones for Halloween Horror Nights, because there is a Blumhouse scare zone section that is coming to Halloween Horror Nights.
Sounds fun. Well, Lorena, again, thank you for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it. It's your first time, so welcome. Definitely we'll have you on again for sure.
All right.
And guys out there, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the comments. Again, remember, I'm figuring all this out because without a mod, I gotta, kind of and bad eyes because I'm old now. I hope I got to your comments. If I didn't, believe me, I will continue to try to get to all of them. And I think I got through all the super chats this time. So again, thank you guys for that. But anyway,
yes, you did. I'm looking. Yes, you did.
good. Guys, that's it for me. I have a video coming out tomorrow, actually, for Blade. Just me talking about Blade in general. And yeah, I'll be back here next week. So thanks again, guys, for showing up.